What's up, everybody? This is Jay, and this is the Shy Season 3, Episode 4, Gangway. Now, this was a lot of emotional things going on in this episode, and it was pretty interesting to find out a couple things of what's going on with Ronnie and a few other characters. Now, before I break it down, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I'm trying to get to 30K subs, and I really can appreciate your help. So if you enjoyed the video, please bang that bell and hit that like if you enjoyed the video. Let's get into it. Now, the episode starts off with a flashback moment. We see Keisha in her room stretching or whatever when Drea come in and she's like, hey, turn this music down. And so now we starting to see why they don't get along. Keisha ain't trying to hear it. She like, you don't run nothing. And Drea's like, well, I pay half the bills. And then while Keisha's turning it off, we see she got a tramp stamp. She got a little stampede. She like, you gonna tell my mama? She said, that ain't my job to snitch on you. And so we see that she's actually dreaming and that she wakes up and realizes that she was dreaming of something bad happening to Keisha, getting hit by a car or something. The music that was playing when Keisha was there was playing again, so she runs to the room and sees that it's Nina just cleaning up in Keisha's room, listening to the music, just stressing over how much money this private investigator need, because the Chicago police, they're not going to dedicate but only so much time because they got so much on their plate. And so they just stress and worry and they trying to get through it. Meanwhile, we see Rusty Ronnie and Raggedy Ronnie is in a garbage can. And then we see that pedophile possible dude, and he pulls off from his house. So we see Ronnie's in his house. He done broke in. He all through his stuff. He goes down in the basement. It's a pretty junky house. He sees some type of information that he felt was important, and he pulls out his cell phone and takes some pictures. Meanwhile, back at Perry's Pizza, we see the boys and they talking about politics and stuff, and Jake is actually feeling it and spitting some game, and Papa is like, you know what, I like what Mr. Perry talking about. And so they saying, but that other girl progressive. And then that's when Kev like, hey, just because she gay don't mean she progressive. Then they talking about the girl that he go to school with. He ready to fight Jake. Then we see that these dudes in there is talking about how Keisha may be chopped up and missing. He about to fight. He stole on dude. They had to break it up. And so now Kev, he's starting to get real upset and sensitive about his sister. Meanwhile, we see Emmett and he waiting in the park, meet up with Darnell, his daddy. He asking him some questions about his relationship and Tiff, and he's like, man, she ain't giving it up. He like, was she slobbing on Bob for you? He said, no. He said, man, she cheating. You better go through her phone. And so we see that Tiffany is going to work. She's selling weed. We see this dude, Nigel. He played Nigel in All Eyes on Me. He set up Tupac. So as soon as I saw him, I knew it was trouble. Sure enough, she trying to sell the weed. He trying to sell some D. And I do mean ding-a-ling. And she like, nah, I'm good. And so she turned him down, but he basically trying to throw them hints when your dude ain't acting right, I'll help you out. Meanwhile, we see Drea and she got a baseball bat because Ronnie had knocking on the door. Hey, I got something for you. And so he trying to tell her about the little info he got on old boy that might be the pedophile. And so she like, why you coming here with me? Why you telling me this? He like, hey, I want to find her. So we see basically Emmett is taking his dumb daddy advice. He going through her Instagram, going through her phone, and that's a straight sucker move. I don't care if you is cheating. I'm not gonna do that. That's, I hate to say it, things women do. So Darnell tell him, you better cheat first, which was stupid. Meanwhile, Ronnie and Drea go and confront the dude, and they saying, hey man, what's up, where the girl at? We know that you've been up to something. And so Jeremiah is his name. He's saying, I didn't do anything. They say, well, what about these pictures? And he like, I delete my browser history. Then he gave Ronnie a knee to his saggy drunk balls, and they was full of 40 ounce. So he took him out. He was down for the count. Dude was able to pull off and get away because, them drunk balls was full of OE. So later, we see that this nice, beautiful woman is walking through, and then we see it's Candy Burris, who is gonna be this character Rosalind, and she walks back there to see Doodah, and then she's like, "Yeah, Otis," and he smile, and they basically she's his wife. Okay, so now we see Kev and his mom Nina, and they going to this function for his school, and so she want to meet his girl, and he like, "Look, she gotta earn it. I ain't ready for her to meet you." Then one of the ladies that work with the school try to say, "Hey, this is Kevin. He one of our shining examples of what your donations do." And he said, "Oh, okay, great, great. Well, maybe he could be the next Ben Carson." And Mama like, "I hope not." Meanwhile, we see Kev talking with Jake, and then they see that the mama is talking with his girl. So he like, "Oh man, she wasn't supposed to do that." And so he tried to go over there to squash the beef. Well, it ain't a beef, but stop the situation before mama get too much info. And so mama like, "You know what? I like her." And then Kev like, "Yeah, me too." And so Gemma, she smiling. Kev girl, she happy. She's talking real good over there. And Kev mom saw that she got a good head on her shoulder. So they talking, and Kev's like, invite her. He said he had an extra ticket to the museum. Meanwhile, they see that her father is over there talking. Jake like, "Why everybody all over on your father every word?" She say, "Well, he got big money." Next thing you know, Jake go bring Otis Perry over. He like, "Hey, I'd like for you to meet my dad." And then that caught Doodah off guard. He ain't never know he would looked at him as a dad. And so that was a key moment in the episode to me. And so he looking out for Doodah. He calling him dad. He introducing him to the money man. Doodah done spit some game about how he want to change the city. Sounding good. Meanwhile, we see back at Papa's church that he's sitting there. He got on his Sunday best. His daddy is sitting there talking a good game about what's going on. Next thing you know, this new character, Camille Holloway, she's talking about running for president. For mayor of Chicago. Nobody made a noise. Nobody said nothing. So she go into her speech about how she gonna change things or whatever. And by the time she was done, people was feeling her. They was clapping. Meanwhile, at Sonny's, we see Kev and his mama trying to get a little bite to eat after the museum. And she said, "Did you tell Gemma about your sister?" And he said, "Well, I just don't want people to feel sorry for me," which I understand where he coming from. Now, later we see Camille giving a big Mississippi knot tucked inside this manila envelope to, old little Rail. And so he said, "Man, you talked a good game." She said, "It ain't just a game, it's the truth." And then Papa said, "Daddy, why she giving you some money? Boy, you better stay out of grown folks' business." And so she kind of had her head down like an embarrassment when Papa kind of saw them. Now, meanwhile, Ronnie was going through the drive-thru to pick up a bite to eat. And so while he's in the drive-thru getting his food, getting his eat on, he finds him a little weapon, and he starts to think, maybe I use this on the little pedophile guy. So later we see that Emmett and Tiff is in some type of counseling, and so he's telling them about they ain't connected. She like, "How we ain't connected and we got a kid together?" He say, "Man, the kid ain't nothing. We need to be connected. We need to have sex more." She like, "What?" He say, "Yeah, if we don't, I'm gonna find somebody else." She like, "Oh, you bogus." And she like, "Well, the real reason I ain't having sex is because I don't want no more kids." He like, "Well, I wear a condom." She said, "Yeah, right." He said, "Well, get your tubes tied." She said, "Well, you get a vasectomy." Boom. Meanwhile, we see at the DuSable African American History Museum in Chicago, a powerful exhibits and different things in regards to African American history. If you're ever in Chicago and have a chance, if the world changes back, check it out. So she was talking about the exhibit. She was talking about how she likes Nina Simone because her father wanted her to have positive dark-skinned women as role models. And so she was upset they weren't represented right. So he said, "Well, we should go tell them." So she telling this dude about how the exhibit ain't right and it ain't fully representing, and he ain't know what to say. And she like, "We two honor students, this and that. I'ma write a letter, do," and walked out. He ain't know what to say. Later we see Drea and drunk Ronnie, and Now they coming to confront Jeremiah. Next thing you know, Ronnie hit him with a 2-piece with a damn tire iron, so he down for the count. She like, you see this man? He homeless and he been to jail. He ain't got nothing to lose. Now where the girl at? He like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just wanted to know her. I just wanted to talk to her. She's at the 63rd Street Beach. I'm sorry. And so later we see Nina cooking, and then she gets a call. Yeah, now we assume that that's Drea letting her know what's going on. Now we see Kev and Jim are sitting on the steps of the DuSable Museum, and he getting a call from his mom, and he was about to answer it, but she like, hey, you gonna be present here with me or you gonna be on the phone? And so, you know, like women, they want the attention, so he turned it off, but he like, look, I need to tell you something. So he about to tell her about his sister. Meanwhile, we see Nina and Drea, and they coming over there to the beach, and it was real emotional. And me as a single parent, and I only have one child, this would have destroyed me as well to find my son in a situation like this. I don't know if I would have been able to run to go see it or if it would have took me forever, but it was really emotional. They couldn't really identify the body. It's been outside for a while. So Drea like, let me see the back for the tattoo. Nina like, ain't no tattoo. She like, yeah, it is. They come to see the back. They don't tell what's going on right then and there, though. So we have to wait, and then we see Kev run home and the mom crying, and then that's when we find out that it was a different girl. But she was still upset because that is somebody's daughter still. Later on, as Sonny's, Emmett is cleaning up. He telling Sonny about the vasectomy and all of this stuff, and he like, you know what? Maybe you should. He like, I don't know. He said, well, look, this is what you do. The things that she like, just do that. And he said, you the smartest man I know. So the next thing you know, we see Tiff come home, music playing, candlelight, strawberries, got the baby ready to go to bed. He giving kisses, pick her up, sweep her up off her feet. He over there rubbing them feet, giving a nice little rub down. Next thing you know, he got her bucket naked and giving a complete rub down that was well deserved, I'm telling you. And so that was good to see them connecting. Now we see Duda, and he's sitting there with his new connection wife, whatever, Rose. And at first I thought maybe this was all about a power play, and she was saying that, but he corrected her like, no, I can run this city. I can do this. And she like, did you want to be a daddy too? He like, at the time it was too dangerous, but yeah, I do. And they told me I couldn't. That's why I want to do this. Meanwhile, we see Ronnie, and he praying, and then you see Big Rail come, and he like, what are you doing there? That boy, he said, well, the guy took me to the wrong girl. I thought I was here to help. He said, well, look, I can help you listen to the Lord, and you can hear better. And then the episode ends with the two ladies, and they sitting there stressing and happy that it wasn't Keisha, but at the same time sad because it was somebody else's daughter. Now it's time for some real talk. Now, I like this episode. It was pretty interesting. It showed a little bit of the dynamic between Drea and Keisha, and why they didn't get along, and maybe she felt that she couldn't talk to Drea or something, or Drea was trying to move in too much too soon. And Keisha did have a better connection with her dad than Kev, so maybe that may be part of the problem. I don't know. It was also interesting to see how Jake is starting to get into politics and how he's bonding with Otis Perry, which goes back to another one of my videos with Jake want to move with Trig. And I'm starting to think more and more that he wouldn't, because he's starting to like this politics. He was even more into it than Papa and Kev. And then he's looking at Otis Perry as his dad, and Otis Perry was kind of Duda was like, oh, okay, I appreciate that, and that may actually bring them two closer. Another thing was tripped out is it was a good point when she said in counseling that you take advice from the wrong people, and he's taking advice from Darnell, who got 7 kids, 5 baby mamas, and ain't nothing but a mess. And first thing he think of is the woman is cheating, so go cheat, not having any proof or anything. And that just go to show, at my time, even in life, I've noticed that a lot of people are trying to do the right thing, but they get advice from people that aren't doing the right thing they damn self, and so they don't get any help. They don't get anywhere. A lot of times I talk to people and they say even your mom, friend, or whatever told you this or that, but those sources aren't doing the right thing themselves, so you shouldn't take advice from people that's not doing it or haven't done things themselves. And also, it was tripped out when Ronnie went into this dude's house and was looking around, and I don't know how nobody noticed anything, but what are they gonna do with him? Because this dude Jeremiah, he still knew about this dead body. Should they still try to report him? Should he go to jail for this, or what? Should they just leave it alone? I mean, that is somebody's child still. And I'm interested to see what Rose is going to do. Is Duda, he said, let's keep this business. So is he really going to get back with her, or is he just using this as a business ploy? Who is he with? Is he single or what? I'm interested into that aspect of what's going on. And also, I'm interested in Gemma's father. Who is Gemma's father? What is he about? And will he be a good ally for Otis Perry? I like what Otis Perry was talking about. We saw Lena Waithe's character, and she was talking about some good stuff too, Camille, but she doesn't have any experience in running a business or running a city or doing anything, at least to our knowledge. So I don't know how that's going to work out. It is ironic, though, that Chicago did just elect a black female lesbian mayor. So that's kind of foreshadowing. I can't remember if that happened before this episode or not. And also, what is she up to giving that money? Now, that ain't really that big of a deal. I mean, you do need to pay to use any speaking hall or any place in order to speak. You can't just always go places and speak for free, especially when you got somebody's ready-made audience in front. If somebody wanted to use somebody's platform, normally you got to pay. Now, that was a big Mississippi knot slid up in that envelope, so we'll see what that was all about. And I'll be interested to see. And in the end, Emmett, it seems, is starting to mature. He getting on that grown man love in the terms of, man, cook for your woman sometime, fellas. Rub your woman foot, you know, do things for her sometime without her asking you. Show that you appreciate. And I think he's starting to get into that level. I remember when I first started getting into that level, and I really appreciated and enjoyed it. And it's just a different thing. You tried the other way where it's you first. Now try another way where you take care of your woman and show appreciation. And I think that was good that they showed that in the episode. In the end, I think it was a good episode. I know it had to be hard if you were a parent to think about seeing your child dead in a field somewhere. That's got to be devastating. They did take their time with that episode to bring that drama to the screen, and I think they did it pretty good. What do you guys think? You let me know in the comments. And what are you guys interested in seeing happen in the rest of the season? And well, how would you feel if we see Keisha return alive? Would you guys want to see her alive, or are you pretty much expecting her to be dead now? It's been almost a week, over a week now. So is it pretty much a done deal? Let me know in the comments. If I missed anything, you let me know. Thanks for all your love and support. I'm working on some new projects, new things. I appreciate it. If y'all support me, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video. Peace.